phase. Remember, there's Empedocles gives us earth, air, fire, and water. Aristotle adds 1/5 element, and it's not a cute little redhead. That's a great movie. That's just a great movie. But the 5th element is ether, and we don't have any of it down here. That's his hypothesis. What keeps the stars separate? The ether is up there holding them up, etc. So earth, air, fire, water, and ether. And remember that theory led to the idea of the 4 humors that are health, and even killed Washington, George Washington. So that theory lasted quite a long time. I think I mentioned Shakespeare's influenced by that. Different character types he talks about, clearly based on the concept of the humors and so on. So let me move on to his. So the metaphysics, please do have a look at it. It's absolutely significant work. But besides that, by the way, the Athenian constitution never was adopted. So that's interesting to me. It's not just Aristotle that had written a constitution for their state, but no one ever seems to adopt those. The closest really was the Communist Manifesto that Marx and Engels wrote, and of course you end up with that being merged into Lenin's thinking, so you get Marxist-Leninism, which was the travesty that was imposed on Tsarist Russia and basically ruined that country for many years. Which is not just my opinion, that's just fact. And lots of people say so. The other one that's really, really significant is he has actually 2 ethics books, but the most famous of them is the Nicomachean Ethics. And my question, actually, is it my actual question still? I should double check. I never logged into Blackboard and checked. Oh, bless you. What? Okay. Let's try. I have to check, because one of the questions I usually ask is, who was Nicomachus? But lately, I'm not sure that that's the question I've been asking. So, this is the, am I on the wrong? I'll have to check. I'll have to double check. This is 2, so I don't know. Did I forget to post the notes for this week?
I didn't see them. They're not the last one.
So I forgot. You guys can email me and tell me stuff like, "Hey, you're being dumb again." That's perfectly fine. I should have posted new notes. So I'll ask the question. The one I already asked was, give me a true statement, and quite a few of you have given me that. I don't feel like everybody did, and by the way, I'm sorry for the person that said the sky is blue, when when it's not cloudy, etc. And actually, there are some places where it's kind of a yellow, and there's other colors, and not just smog. And the other thing was that that's actually two sentences, not just one, right? Because it's an if-then, even though you had it reversed. But if you put it in order where you say if it's not cloudy, then the sky is blue, which, okay, generally speaking, we all say yes, the sky is blue. So if you mean it in that sense, okay. But then you don't have to defend your choice by saying when it's not cloudy, because you get the idea, right? You can be more specific in seeing how we decide whether a statement is true or false, etc. But today, I guess the quiz question I'll ask is, who was Nicomachus? And I won't tell you right. Well, should I tell you who Nicomachus was? Or you want to look it up?
Let's do our own research.
It's fun. It's fun to do. And it's a trick question. Because you'll find multiple answers. But so the Nicomachean Ethics. And when we, where did it go?
Can we see the name spelled?
Ah, here it is. Of course, that's the adjective. So Nicomachus would be the actual name. You could just ask. I bet ChatGPT will give you
Looks like it's referring to the son of Aristotle. That's what it says here.
It was also his father. So the grandfather and the son.
I'm the grandpa.
Yeah. A lot of people will point out that there's other famous Nicomachuses. For example, there's a mathematician, but the mathematician was much, much later. So obviously, yeah. So it's one of those questions I've been asking for years to actually encourage people to read. That happens occasionally. But and if I think of a better question or another question, I'll email you. But so this one is cool because it contrasts, of course, with Plato. In some ways, but not all of them, because Aristotle is living in a culture that the virtues are pretty much the same for Plato and Aristotle. But how do we get to them? That's an issue. Remember, for Plato, and most of you disagreed with the idea that everybody is born with their personal characteristics, their personality fixed. You can't teach virtue, says Socrates in the Meno, basically, right? You either have it or you don't, right? Not going to be able to fix Voldemort by convincing him. You need to feel love, Not going to work with Voldy, Sorry, that's a Harry Potter thing. Yeah. All right. So in any case, Plato says that everybody's got it or they don't, and where does it come from? From your soul's predisposition, because of the type of soul you have. Gosh, if you're a Buddhist, a million plus people just tried to take a bath in the river all at once in India, in Praguja or wherever it was. I don't know if you followed the news. Remember, 30 people died in the crush, and others were injured. Not heard of it. And what were they doing there? Well, the belief was that this particular fork where the two rivers come together, it's a very sacred spot, and if you bathe there this time of year, you're basically going to be, able to go to nirvana, basically. And nirvana, as a Buddhist concept, is the idea of escape from attachment to everything. Because for the Buddhists, the attachment to the physical world, just like Plato, it's all corrupt, right? We want to get away from this. Our soul wants to escape this miserable mortal coil. You know, we want to get out of this and get back to heaven, you know, where our soul is once more connected to the all, right? And all of these ascetic ethics basically argue that the way to do that is to gradually wean yourself off of attachment to the physical world. You know, don't like things. Don't get attached. You know, don't love other people. Not in that sense. You know, where you're physically attached to other people. Instead, just love God. You know, so caritas. Well, that's a virtue that will. You know, we talked about the four virtues: wisdom, temperance, courage, and justice. Right? When the Christianity change occurs later on, you will add three more, and that would be charity, caritas, love. It's your heart, right? So charity, love is actually a mutually meaningful a virtue associated with one another, right? And then hope. Hope is, well, I hope this narrative is right. You know, I'll trust to this. And faith, right? So hope, faith, and charity. So you end up with 7. Is my math skills good enough? Did I do that right? Right? 4 and 3. Yes, that's still 7, right? Okay. By the way, the sins are not really associated with them at all. The sins really have fluctuated. What are the most deadly sins? You know, that you can commit, etc. Well, so this is really very abstract, you know, both for Buddhism. Remember, there's a possibility that Plato was influenced by Buddhism, you know, reincarnation and so on. But there's an interesting mutual rejection of attachment to the physical world in all of those major religions. It seems to me that's still the case. That religions worldwide literally want to do that reject attachment to the physical world, except for what we call pagan religions. And pagan, where we get the word, is pagano, which is Latin for the countryside. And where did that develop? Well, when the Christian religion took over Rome, it was an urban religion, basically. And the people out in the country were still attached to the religious traditions of the Roman Empire. Jupiter, sorry, if I want to be Latin, it had to be Jupiter. But, you know, you get all the gods, and you had different sacrifices for them. And if you think about those pagan religions, those were really designed to figure out how to cooperate with the forces in the universe so that you would be okay. You would be able to flourish. You would have physical happiness, physical wealth, physical success in your fields. So the pagan religions really are associated more with an attachment to the physical thing. So when Buddha rejects all of those Hindu religions and basically invents sitting under the Bodha tree, Buddhist point of view, it's a rejection of all of those. And remember, those 3 all occur in the axial age, so-called, like Carl Jaspers. So you get, you know, a certain period of time where all major civilizations need to make this move all at once. But Aristotle comes along, and his values are the same as Plato, but he doesn't believe at all in this soul business. As far as he's concerned, this is it. You know, the physical body and my soul is this activity, you know, that my body does, right? And that's divine enough, really. So if you like the question, you know, about the soul as the, you know, now I can get to it. Shoot, I should have just went straight there. And then the first test, which I forget when it's due, but not yet. So So we're getting, we have to go past the post-Socratics or the post-Aristotelians and begin working with the Christians before we have this due. Because notice I do ask, as question 6, compare Socrates to Jesus of Nazareth. But how does Aristotle say we should live a virtuous life? And relate the concept of soul. This is